The final chapter of life. It will eventually come for all cats. It will eventually come for all of us. As a loving and responsible cat owner, it's only natural, especially if you've never witnessed it before on a deeply personal and a first-hand level, to be curious. If your cat is of senior status, and perhaps sick and riddled with illness, knowing what to look for, something that could signal that the end is near, is only natural. And it could also be quite helpful with respect to knowing your next moves, and what you need to do during those final hours. And while all situations are different and uniquely personal, there are a few details worth noting that seem to be prevailing and much more common across the board, and that's what we'll talk about in this material. Interesting topic and hopefully a helpful one. I've got you covered. Stay tuned. As a cat owner, unfortunately, I can speak on this topic from the unfortunate place of personal experience. And I will say you can be as learned as possible on this matter, but until you see it unfold before you, you'll never quite be fully equipped to handle the experience, really on any front. Having said that, what I will say to you today is that all experiences are different. They will be different. This is why attempting to address how a cat will act near the end of life can be at times, and in some cases, a bit misleading. Context is ever so critical, so as I go through a few things here, just remember I don't have the context of your situation. I can only cover the notables using a wider scope. Those fine details, they belong to you. This is why I will encourage you to take what I say here today and apply it to the truth of your situation as an owner, and apply things somewhat against your cat's own natural personality and natural behaviors. Many times, grave sickness or not, we can tell when something just isn't quite right with our pets simply because we know them all too well. We know what's normal and we know what's not. Take what I have to offer, give it the proper context, and see how it fits or doesn't fit with your cat's overall behavior as of this present time. Now, cats can enter a grave state for various reasons. Old age, what could be framed as natural causes, illness and disease, impacting all stages of life, from the young to the old. Injury. Sometimes a feline can suffer an injury so traumatic, even with medical care, where full recovery is not only impossible, but overall health becomes quite dire. I will say that a cat I took care of for several years, somewhat of a neighborhood cat, he was involved in a late-night scuffle with a raccoon. This is not something I witnessed firsthand, but something I caught wind of the following day. During that day, the cat was visibly shaken, injured, and walking was a virtually impossible task. Once the owner of said cat was notified, the feline was taken to the vet and surgery was performed. Not long after returning home, in fact, the cat succumbed to the injuries that he had sustained, and perhaps some level of physical complications post-surgery. But yes, as most of you could probably assume, cats can leave us for several reasons, but natural aging, sickness, disease, and injury are certainly the most notable. And for clarification, I am placing accidents under the category of injury. An example would involve a pet being struck by a vehicle or something of a similar nature. How do cats act at the end of life? Calm, quiet, reserved, lethargic, refusal to eat, drink, and go to the restroom in a proper manner? Whether you are a cat owner or not, have experienced this firsthand or not, I think it's fair to say that we all know about these signs, these indicators. At the time of this video publication, my father passed away just over 6 months ago, and lethargy, that was more or less the core symptom he showed for roughly the last 9 months of his life. Animals in this regard, they're very much the same. Life, oftentimes, the energy that is life, it winds down the closer to death. I think we've all heard over many years and many decades folks talk about how cats will go off to die, go away to die. Now, while that's not true for every cat, and certainly for every case, because as I noted earlier, all cases are in fact different, the notion that cats go off to die is indeed true. Cats on the land will go off to protect themselves and pass away in peace. A cat in the home could find comfort in a distant area, away from foot traffic, what could be described as getting out of the way. Now, lethargy is a big red flag, perpetual lethargy, and once again, combined with a context that only you can know about and can speak on, is a sure sign that something is very wrong and death could be near. Having said that, some cats will act in a totally opposite fashion. While lethargy could still very much be present, some cats choose the comfort of people they know and love, the family they love. Some felines will desire to be on the sofa and all cuddled up. The desire for the attention, for the petting, for that comfort. Some cats that are near death, they can become more affectionate, wanting that companionship during their final days and final hours. In addition to what has already been mentioned, most cats that are near death will cease grooming almost entirely. And while some cats will choose to be distant, others more desired for affection, other felines, depending on the situation that has caused a terminal condition, they will become very angry, very aggressive, and could use what energy they do have left to express their displeasure. While sad and unfortunate, some cats go into protection mode to such great extent they will turn on the ones they love in order to cope with their very own pain and suffering. In terms of the role that you play and your personal actions, there is often that fine line between lethargy, extended sleep, and pain and discomfort. Knowing what to do can be quite difficult because while you certainly don't want to lose your cat, as a loving owner, sometimes you are forced to make gut-wrenching decisions in the very name of that love, and sometimes knowing when to let go and release your cat from their prison of pain is the best gift that you can provide during those final days. If you are aware that your cat is not only dying but very much suffering, please take your cat to the vet and discuss the options. With a clear mind, as best as possible, make the objective decision. Now, what that is in that moment, I can't say. However, with the context that only you know, and with the professional opinion of your vet, make the right call, whatever it is at that time. If your cat is slipping away, there's nothing that can be done, and your pet is suffering, there are options that deserve to be discussed. This is a very tough topic, and there's no way around it, but I hope that if you are in this position today, where your cat is in that final chapter, I hope you know that you'll know what to do in that moment and make the decision with a sound mind and with the help of sound advice. As for how cats act, here again, context is key, and your cat's personality is key. Some cats, even in those end days, they still lean on who they've always been, and at times perhaps even play the role of the brave fighter, just for you. If your cat's behavior is becoming alarming and you're really not sure what you're seeing, if it is or is not a sign of the very worst, please seek a professional opinion. I'll also say this, just because a sick cat, a known sick cat, is displaying some rather dire symptoms, that doesn't always mean they are in the final stages again. You know your cat and the situation, especially if we are in fact talking sickness and disease. My take, as always, is to be proactive in everything that you do. As an owner, always give of yourself the way that you always have. Walk with confidence even to the very end. Be the strength and the great comforter that your cat needs. And in their greatest time of need, they will be glad it was you. They'll be glad that you were in their life. They'll be glad they had a life well lived under your care. To those cat owners who are suffering, who are in the midst of this storm right now, I wish you the very best. Stay strong. Out of respect for this topic, I won't ask for detailed stories in the comments. I don't care to drum up negative feelings and cause people to revisit old wounds or shake them further during current dire times. I will just simply say the comment section, as always, it's all yours. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you do feel so inclined. And until next time, I will talk to you later.